Alright, what is up, my friends? Welcome back to my core set 2021 complete set review. We're doing green now. We're definitely on the back nine and we're on the green. And full set review, constructed, limited, every card. And if you missed any other colors, they'll be up on YouTube. Check those out, of course. And I want to remind everyone that I'll be playing in the early access streamer event. I do this every new set. My favorite piece of content that I do. I build 10 new decks, my 10 new brews. I stream like a 10-hour stream. I play all 10 decks. And then those videos go on YouTube. And then I write about all 10 decks in my article that week on CoolStuffInc.com. Full thoughts, what I think of the prospects of a deck are. Did it work? Blah, 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 blah. So all my thoughts and stuff like that. Looking forward to that. Early access stream. June 24th. I'm pumped. You should be too. Let's get started here on green. And a big reprint here. Big reprint. Azusa, Lost But Seeking. This will lower the price of Azusa in Modern. This card will see no play in Standard and no play in Limited. That's basically it. Maybe in Historic, this card sees a little play. Probably not. It's a flashy reprint, but almost worthless. Almost worthless. There's no way this card beats Dryad of the Elysian Grove in Standard. No way. Just too small. You very rarely have enough lands to actually do it without bounce lands, so it's not doing it. Open one, get some money. That's about it. Burlfist Oak. 4 mana for a 2/3 Tree Folk. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +2/+2 to end of turn. This card's a house in Limited. So by itself, it's a 4/5 with no help every turn to attack with for 4, which is pretty good in Limited. Pretty good in Limited. And obviously, the core, one of the core mechanics in Simic in Limited is to draw like 2 cards a turn, draw extra cards. This card scales pretty well. So this is a house in Limited. Obviously, slots really well into the draw extra cards deck, but honestly isn't bad otherwise. It's bad on defense, but of course you can always use cards like Opt, things like that on your opponent's turn. This is definitely like a marquee uncommon for that deck, and a solid card in general. Unplayable, constructed. Simple as that. We're going in Wooburg order. We've done white, blue, black, and red so far. Canopy Stalker is a 4 mana 4/2. Must be blocked if able. Taunting Elf, for those who are old school. When it dies, you gain 1 life for each creature that died this turn. It's a pretty cool card. Face value of this card is kind of fine anyway. 4/2 for 4 really isn't that bad. And then you can force blocks. You can kill. It's sort of like a pseudo removal spell. You can also do the Alpha Strike, where you just act with this and everything else. They can't block everything else if they die. You get to gain some life off of it. And then also things dying is part of the synergies in green-black, where things trigger off things dying and so on and so forth. So definitely a solid limited card. I think you're going to want some sort of death trigger synergy to really maximize this card, but a solid card overall. Definitely a solid limited card. Constructed, probably unplayable, but cool limited card. You know what time it is. We do this for every color. We have our Best in Show. Colossal Dreadmaw returns. Green, and 4 for a 6/6 trample dinosaur. Colossal Dreadmaw peeking around the corner, looking for your boat, ready to eat you. Go chompy chomp. All right. That was a good joke, too. This is a desperately needed reprint. Here. The price on Colossal Dreadmaw is getting too high. This card hasn't seen print in a long time. And having it back in Standard and in Draft is huge. It's huge. Big reprint here. Forget Grim Tutor. Forget Mythic Planeswalkers. This is the card. If you feel the ground quake, run. If you hear its bellow, flee. If you see its teeth, it's too late. All right. We done having fun? You like? Can we keep going here? Y'all are just joking around too much. I'm just trying to do a set review, you know? God. Come on. Cultivate is back, and Cultivate is a card that was really good. This card used to be called Kodama's Reach when it first came out in Kamigawa. And that was a format-defining card in Standard, Block Constructed. When Cultivate came out, it wasn't really played that much. Cultivate it just looks a little silly next to Euro, you know? And there's so many good ways to ramp right now, but Cultivate just feels pretty meh. It's definitely good. I did win the Players' Championship, 5 years ago, playing Nissa's Pilgrimage in my deck, which is almost a worse Cultivate. So, is it playable? Sure. But given the other options that ramp in Standard right now, it doesn't feel too exciting, but it's a card. It's a card. For sure. Cultivate has different requirements than Growth Spiral and Euro. Both Growth Spiral and Euro require pretty heavy land counts, whereas Cultivate, you can cheat on lands a little bit. One Cultivate means you make all your land drops, basically. So, it's a card. It's a good card. Just may not be the right time for it, but it is a powerful card. It has a pedigree. It's 2 for 1. It's a card. It's definitely a card. Okay, fine card, limited. Better in sealed than limited, and good for facilitating splashes. But yeah, it's a card. It's a cool card to see back. I like Cultivate. Cultivate's like right on the bar for power level, I think. It's not too powerful, but still pretty good. I'm about it. Drowsing Tyrannodon. It's going to be me in about half an hour if we keep staying up too late. 2 mana for a 3/3. It has Defender, right? Sleepy Dino. As long as you control a creature of power 4 or greater, Drowsing Tyrannodon can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So, definitely a solid limited card. Not quite, what was that card called? Lambbolt Pacifist? Not quite Lambbolt Pacifist and Constructed. Probably not going to see play there. But in limited, solid card. It blocks well early. It scales better late. And it's important to note the wording on this card. As long as you control a creature power 4 or greater, not another creature. So you manage to put one +1/+1 counter on this card, you're good to go. It can turn itself on, which is, I guess, a good ability to have. But yeah, so solid limited card, and not a constructed card. Not a constructed card at all. Oh boy, here we go. So we talked about the big dragon mythic in red, and how it didn't do anything when it came into play, even though it had many abilities. Elder Gargaroth. This is my job. Elder Gargaroth is a 5 mana 6/6 trample. Vigilance, reach, trample, a lot of abilities. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you can either make a 3/3, gain 3 life, or draw a card. So, this thing, first of all, condolences to anyone who plays against this card limited, because you're never going to win if you don't have a kill spell. But this is a very Baneslayer-esque card in green. This is basically the green Baneslayer Angel, honestly, where if it lives, you can never lose. If it dies, you get blown out, basically. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. It's a Fairy Time Raveler. Elspeth Conquers Death. Just LOL, nice card, no haste, didn't do anything. Must be nice. So, it's powerful. Not as good as it looks. It's very important to contextualize these cards. Not just like when it's working and when it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, you're getting out-tempoed big time. It's a very balanced. You're getting petty thefted. You're getting Heartless Act. None of those trades are good for you. So if it lives, yeah. Could this make a card like Rhythm of the Wild playable or some other haste effect? Maybe. Because if you get to attack right away, if this thing has haste, it's bananas. It's on the level of like a Titan, I think. But without haste, not great. So definitely interesting to see what this card will do and how much players are willing to work towards it. Because the payoff is there if you give it haste. Ranger's Guile is a very weak card. And waiting a turn to make it a 6-drop is also pretty weak. You could do that too. Play Fight as 1, things like that. But it's pretty rough. And as a side note, Dan brought up a good point that Drowsing Tyrannodon gets pumped by Domri, which is pretty good too. It can attack. So it might actually be a little closer constructed than we think it is. But yeah, so definitely a card where if your opponent's not playing kill spells, this card's great. But I think this card needs a little more to be good. It's got the old Dies the Doomblade thing, So A lot of words, a lot of abilities, but yeah, don't. If you open this card limited, just play green. Basically, that's all I got. Feline Sovereign, 3 mana for a 2/3. This is the Cat Lord. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. But why? What is it about this cat that makes the cat... Whatever. Whenever one or more cats you control deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You get it? You get it? It knocks the thing off the table. You get it? Yeah, so... there are... Cat Tribal is certainly a much more... a doable thing than Dog Tribal, because there are tons of cats in Magic. There aren't many dogs. You know, we did a Dog Lord in white. The Dog Lord is phenomenal. It's one of the best lords ever printed, but there just aren't that many dogs. Where there are actually a decent amount of cats, so definitely a reasonable effect here. Is there a cat deck? Probably not, but you know, as far as lords go, it could be worse. Could be worse. So, Fierce Empath, a reprint from an Onslaught block card. Old school card here in Fierce Empath. 1/1 for 3. This is Goblin Matron for 6 drops. And this card's probably not playable in this day and age. But it's cool. It's cool and limited too. You can go get your 6 mana bomb or whatever. It's cute. Funny because this card costs 5. So you can't get this one, right? But yeah, so Empath's cute. It's cool reprint. It's fun. It's fun. Vogel Rebirth is a 3 mana instant. Return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If a creature died this turn, make 2 tokens. This card works really well in your like morbid synergy green-black draft decks. You know, you sack something, you get a trigger for it, you get it back, gets you 1/1s. You can use those 1/1s to sacrifice for more things. Definitely a pretty cool card. I think this card is a lot more than the sum of its parts. You know, it looks like a 1-for-1, but it does a lot more than that too, I think. I think this is a pretty good synergy card for draft decks. Constructed, probably not. I wouldn't rule it out completely for constructed, but probably not. But yeah, definitely a really cool limited card. I think this is definitely the kind of card where it's like, it's got enough things going on in limited that it can be really, really exciting. So, Garrick's Gorehorn, 5 mana for a 7/3. You can't get a Fierce Empath, you know? It sucks. Ooh. Garrick's Harbinger. Harbinger. Garrick's Harbinger. I can't speak. This card was very, very close to Best in Show. Just so you know. Very, very close. This card's a house. This is a 3 mana. Garrick's Garbinger. Yeah, basically. 3 mana, 4/3, hexproof from black. So already pretty solid stats here. 4 power, 3 mana, doesn't die to Doomblade. And the ability is, whenever it deals damage to a player or planeswalker, which is big game, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may reveal a creature card or a Garrick planeswalker card among them, put it in your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. So this is basically a 4/3, 3 mana, hexproof from black, turbo Ophidian in green. I think this card's really, really, really good. It doesn't have trample, which is, you know, not ideal, but it's big. And it plays very well with Garrick proper, which would give it trample and give it more power. I think this card's pretty solid. What deck wants it exactly? I'm not exactly sure. There is a green Stompy deck. I think you'd want kill spells to push it through, kind of like Ophidian would be. But very powerful. Very powerful. One hit and you are golden, and it snowballs really well too. So very solid card. Very solid card. Does die to like the lightning strikes and stuff like that, but I like it. I like this card. I think it's pretty good. This card will definitely see play. And in limited, just awesome. Obviously, just a freaking great card. A 4/3 for free would be good in limited with no abilities. So very, very solid card. Very, very solid card. Garrick's Uprising. 3 mana for enchantment. This is kind of cool. So typically these enchantments tend to suck if they come too late. But this one has a little bonus too. When it comes into play, if you have a creature power 4 greater, you draw a card. Creatures have trample. And if you play a creature power 4 greater, you also draw a card. So it's got both sides on it. So you play it on turn 3, You scale up, draw cards, awesome. Draw it on turn 8, you can still play it and draw a card, and it gives things trample. I think this card's great in limited. Great in limited. Really good card. The trample effect is like a nice little rider text that actually really matters when you have your big 5/5s in play. You can draw cards. Great in a longer game. Probably a little better in sealed than in draft, but this card seems really good to me. I like it a lot. I think it's very, very good. Garrick Unleashed. I gotta take a drink of water here. Garrick Unleashed. 4-mana Planeswalker, 4 loyalty. +1. You give a creature +3/+3 and trample to end of turn. Pretty good, honestly. So it makes this sort of like a 3/3 haste creature with upside. And again, I want to say that I like the design of these Planeswalkers. They're not busted. And they kind of require things in play to work super well. They're not just like universally good. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, Teferi, Time Raveler, Nissa. These cards are just always good. I think Planeswalkers that have to do certain things or only be played in certain decks are much more interesting. So don't underestimate this plus ability. This plus ability is huge. If you go Love Struck Beast on 3, cast this on 4, you're attacking for 8 trample. This is huge. It needs to be played in a more aggressive deck, but don't underestimate that first ability. It's a big one, all right? -2 is make it 3/3, and if your opponent has more creatures than you get to put an extra loyalty counter back onto it. So if you're losing, it's a -1, not a -2. It's cute. It's cool. Makes 3/3s. It's fine. And then -7, Emblem. With the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card, put it in play, and shuffle your library. So an okay ultimate. It's fine. I think this card is similar to the white Planeswalker in that it's good in aggressive decks. It's very good for diversify your bonds. It's good for diversifying your threats against mass removal, things like that, so you don't get blown out by a Wrath. It's good for pushing through as well. And then it's good. It's very good with the Harbinger, of course. Just peanut butter and jelly right there. I think this card is better than it looks. People are saying in chat this is the worst Planeswalker. I don't agree. I think this card's actually pretty solid. Is it a card you're playing 4 of? Probably not. Is it a good complementary piece to your aggressive deck? Seems solid. Regisaur, perfect. Rotting Regisaur, attack for 10. Awesome. Just a good aggressive Planeswalker, but it can also make tokens, which is also great. So the problem is that a lot of the Ajani's have this problem, especially like the 3-mana Ajani's, where they're really good at pumping your creatures, but like if you don't have any creatures, they just suck. This card is good at pumping your creatures, and if they kill all your creatures, it can also make creatures too, which is great. So I think people are underrating this card. I think it's very, very good. Not incredible. It's not necessarily shakes the world, but I think it's still very, very solid. Very, very solid. Gnarled Sage. Great common. 4/4 reach for 5. As long as you draw on 2 or more cards this turn, it gets +0/+2 in Vigilance. So the 4/6 attacker. That's awesome. Definitely awesome. Obviously, a card that wants to be played in the Synergy deck based on drawing extra cards, the blue-green deck. But if you are that deck, this seems like a really, really solid common. Solid limited card. Not amazing, but this is like your meat and potatoes kind of limited card for that draft deck. So 4/6 Vigilance is a house, and then having it back on defense is awesome too. So I like it. Grog Intervention. Everyone loves this card. Everyone just loves this card so much. This card's not very good. 2 mana, leaving up 2 mana constructed in your aggro deck is really hard to do. It's not end of turn. What? This thing. It's fine. So this card is, if you're looking for like negate for Shatter of a Sky, sure, this does do that. That's all this card does. It's, other than that, this is not Blossoming Defense. The hexproof part is like, you're not countering their Doomblade with this. Like, it's not a good use of it. So if you're trying to specifically beat Shadow of a Sky or Storm's Wrath or maybe Deafening Clarion, this card can do that if you have no other options. But I kind of would rather just play another threat, but it's fine. It'll see some play, but I think the amount of hype that goes into this card is much higher than what it actually is. It is good in limited, because at worst, it just says, I win this trade. At best, you blow a combat out. So definitely good and limited for sure. But constructed, it's a very mediocre sideboard card. It's fine. It's a job to do. It can do that job, but it's not that exciting. It's just an okay reprint, you know? It's just fine. Just too clunky. You know, it's only for countering Wraths, for the most part. Hunter's Edge. So, hunt the weak, but not a fight. So, they're improving Hunt the weak. Put a counter on a thing, and then Rabid Bite. So, it's not a fight anymore. This is a fine limited card. It's okay. Not being a fight's kind of cool. It's clunky. These sort of effects on clunky sorceries make them easier to blow out with removal spells, where you tap all your lands to do this, they kill your creature in response, and you probably lose the game on the spot. But it's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's not great. You know, it's just a fine okay draft card. It does have the +1/+1 possible synergies, so there is that. But you know. Invigorating Surge, 3 mana for an instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and then double the number of counters on that creature. This card's pretty cool. So, at worst, this is put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature, which is pretty good, because it's a trick where you win the combat, but you keep the big creatures. So, I have a 2/2, you have a 2/2, I attack, you block, I kill your thing, and now I have a 4/4. So, it's actually a pretty big upgrade, and then it scales really, really well with all of the tokens, the counter synergies. So, if your thing already has 2 counters on it, oh, you're going so big, this is great. So, definitely a good trick. This kind of trick where you leave behind more than you had to start, Indomitable Will, things like that, is very good and limited. I think this card's pretty sweet. I like it. Not playable constructed, obviously. This card is really interesting. Jorielle Moavi Recluse. This is like a blue card, but it's green. Kind of a weird one. 2 mana, 1/2 legendary creature. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you make it 2/2. Very blue card, but it's green, obviously. Kind of pushing that theme of the Simic, you know, draw extra cards, do extra things. This card is cool. It looks pretty underwhelming, but making a 2/2 every turn is pretty sweet. I'm not sure what deck would want this card. You know, like a blue-green prowess deck or draw extra card deck sounds weird. It is a cat, sure. Cats have some relevance. It also has a 6 mana ability on the turn creatures you control get base power on top of this X number of cards in your hand. So it has a, you know, kind of an overrun ability that could be reasonable. But it's definitely a pretty weird card. Imagine showing this card to someone in 2002. They might be a little confused. But yeah, you can go opt on my turn and then, you know, throw a possibility on your turn. But again, this card seems worse than the blue-red enchantment, which didn't see much play. So I'm probably talking too long about this card. But plays that with the Euro, yeah, it's cool. It's definitely true. But yeah, I don't know what deck would want this really. So it's kind of a cool, weird card, but it's cool. In limited, if you can trigger this a few times, it's good. Otherwise, yeah. But 2 mana, it's very solid. So Life Goes On reprint, just a weird little life gain card, pretty unplayable if you're playing its burn. This card's really good. Llanowar Visionary is Llanowar Elf and Elvish Visionary smushed together. I'm a little sad this card didn't cost 1 green to really like cement home the smush together, but I think this card's actually really good. I think this card's phenomenal in limited. Phenomenal. I think this card's playable and constructed. Phyrexian Rager, I know it's a little old school, but saw a lot of play in standard. To be fair, creatures were very bad back then, but a 2/2 that replaces itself for 3 is not that bad, you know. And the fact that it adds mana too, this is a solid card. Is it amazing? No. This is a meat and potatoes kind of card, but I like it. I could see this card seeing play constructed, and I think this card's great in limited. Great, for sure. Love it. Ornery Dilophosaur, 4 mana for a 2/2 Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, you control creature power 4 or greater. It gets +2/+2. This card's fun. I mean, 2/2 Death Touch for 4 is like, it's not that bad. So it blocks pretty well, and then it can be better when you attack. This card's like okay. It's not great. It's very bad on offense. Yeah, I'm kind of off it actually. If it costs 3, I think it'd be cool. I'd be cool with it. But this card's pretty mopey. It's not terrible, but I don't think you want this card, and that's in your draft deck that often. Yeah, Death Touch is more of a defensive ability, so a 4-mana blocker is kind of poopy. So, Portcullis Vine looks innocuous, very good in your sacrifice synergy decks with morbid effects and stuff like that. You know, Black Green wants things to die, and then trigger off that. This triggers that very, very well. Simple as that. You know, not a great blocker. Don't play this card straight up. This is a very good synergy card for your Golgari decks like that. Pride Malkin. 3 mana for a 2/1. Comes into play, put a counter on creature you control. So this can target itself, so it could be a 3/2. Each creature with a counter on it has trample. This is your meat and potatoes, like +1/+1 counter, you know, synergy card. You know, your draft deck doesn't want this if you're not playing counters, but if you're playing counter stuff, it's good. Pretty simple. Nothing too really crazy. Primal Might. So Prey Upon gets an upgrade. At worst, for 1 green and X is 0, this is a Prey Upon. So my thing fights your thing for 1 green, right? But obviously it scales pretty well. I think this card's pretty sweet. It's not amazing. But very, very good in limited. Like, really good in limited. Very outside shot to see play constructed. Prey Upon has seen play in fringe scenarios before, and this is just much, much better than that. So, fringe playable deck, card constructed, great limited card. Easy first pick. Really good card in limited, for sure. Like, Prey Upon's already fine in limited. This card's just like a major upgrade. Oh, Quirion Dryad, how the mighty have fallen. Before a lot of you were born, this was one of the premier 2-drop threats in Magic. I'll do it again. It's pretty funny. Those times have passed. This card was printed again in, like, I don't know, core set 2013 or something like that. Didn't do anything. Creatures are a lot better than they used to be. Like, a lot. Could this card be playable? Probably not. I mean, I would love to say yes. The card's super cool. Obviously, you play this card with, like, Opt and, like, cantrips. This card saw play, you know, the Brainstorm, Ponder, etc. decks. I don't know if Ponder was a card, honestly. Like, Miracle Grow, yeah, so on and so forth. But, I mean, when Tarmogoyf got printed, this card got relegated to not even the bench. Like, I don't even know. So, it's a cool card, but I think this card's days are long past, despite it being really, really cool. It makes me sad almost, but super cool card. In limited, if you're playing a lot of cantrips and you're playing a lot of not green cards, go for it. Go for it. It has counters on it too, so I guess if you're playing green-white like counters matter deck, this card's probably just like actively pretty good. Play one white card, now it's 2/2 with the counter on it, so it's pretty good. But Raider's Guile, this card is not Blossoming Defense. Blossoming Defense, awesome. This card, pretty mopey. It's an okay trick in limited. Again, I love 1-mana tricks, but not constructed playable, and it's just like, it's okay. It's good against kill spells. I think you should board this card aggressively against your control opponents in limited, but it's not really great if you're just like in combat. So, Return to Nature, just good to reprint. It's obviously a good sideboard card for many reasons. Run Afoul. This card says 1 green mana, instant, target opponent sacrifices their Dream Trawler. That is a very relevant card in certain standards. So only spot is really playable, but maybe it's a sideboard card in draft, but yeah. Saber-Tooth Mauler is a 4-mana 3/3. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a counter on it and untap it. Seems like a pretty meat and potatoes card. I know I keep saying it for the Morbid deck in limited. You get 1 counter miss and it's awesome. It's awesome. But yeah, it's definitely a super solid card for that draft deck. Again, the kind of card where well designed. Some decks want it and some decks don't. But even then, I mean, like, things just die. So this card is probably pretty good. The Green Shrine makes mana, which is really awkward, though, because the turn you cast it doesn't do anything. But it's only mana of any 1 color, too, so you can't cast the 5-color Shrine. This Shrine's pretty unexciting. I don't know. Not super about it. It is like a Darksteel Ingot, I guess. Just like adds 1 mana every turn of any color. I don't know. It's okay, I guess. Whatever. So one of the problems with core sets is you end up with some pretty boring best of shows. Scavenging is back. Scavenging is just really, really good. I mean, I don't need to say much about it. It's playable in every format. It's going to be really good with Euro around, obviously. I know it's not very exciting, but it's just like by far the best green card. I don't think it's particularly close. With Euro being a defining card in the format, this is like, pretty good. That's all I got. Yeah, against Luris. Yeah. I'm sorry, Colossal Dreadmaw. I'm sorry. Scavenging Ooze is here to ruin your day. Maybe next core set. It's really all I got. Just Scavenging Ooze, you know what the card does, So, we'll keep dancing, but Citizen Training's back. I like this card. Obviously not going to be nearly as good in this format as it was in Theros. There's no Constellation, things like that. But it is a card draw trigger for your 2 cards a turn thing, so it fits that thing pretty well. Even the Trample's pretty good too. It's a good card. Probably a good synergy card in draft. I like it. I'm a fan. I like this card a lot. Skyway Sniper, 1 mana for a 1/2 reach. Pings flyers. It's a limited sideboard card. I mean, it could see play constructed in weird scenarios where you would want this narrow effect. As I always say, any one mana card is playable, but Snare Spinner, 2 mana for a 1/3, blocks flyers really well. Solid limited card, probably more of a sideboard card, but obviously very good against flyer decks. Spore Web Weaver, 3 mana for a 1/4, reach, hexproof from blue. Whenever this card is dealt damage, you gain a life, make a 1/1. I would not want to play against this card if I was playing a mono red deck. Oh boy. This is the kind of card that gives mono red players nightmares. Like, what do you do? How do you ever beat this card if you're playing mono red? It's just going to keep gaining life, making 1/1. It's hard to kill. Can't burn it. If you have to, attack into it and then shock it, they get 2 tokens and 2 life. Oh boy. Yeah, this card is, not a main deck card, but this is a nasty, nasty anti-mono red sideboard card. Nasty. I suppose you can't Teferi bounce it. That is true. But don't think you want it against Teferi decks. But yeah. LeBrontodon James. Cool reprint. It's a fine card. You know what it does. Titanic Growth. Not quite Giant Growth. I guess Giant Growth's on MS set. A lot worse than Giant Growth. 2 is a lot more than 1. Not much of an upgrade. I would not want to play this card in my draft deck if I didn't have to. It's okay. But Track Down, 2 mana. So this is like a weird card. It's a templating kind of weird, but it's templated to draw a card because of the synergies. This is basically scry 3 and then draw a card if it's a creature or a land. It's like a weird green preordain. Good synergy card for your draw card effects in drafts. Probably not playable constructed. Truffle Snout, 3 mana for a 2/2. Comes into play, gain 4 or get a counter. This is like the strictly worst Night of Autumn, but it's an okay card for sure. 4 life's a lot. A 3/3 for 2. 3/3 for 3 is fine, and again, kind of cool. Again, side effect here. It's got a counter on it. Counter synergies are a thing. He is very happy too. Look at the smile here. Look at that smile. Ooh, big cursor. Ooh, breaking the 4th wall here. Ooh, cursor. Okay. Warden of the Woods. This card is a freaking house in limited. House. 6 mana, 5/7 vigilance. Monster. Whenever it's targeted by a spell or an ability, this actually passes the Teferi and Conquer's Death test. You draw 2 cards. House. This is a slam first pick in limited. Attack's amazing. Block's amazing. You can't get rid of it. Draws cards if they kill it. They're going to have to kill this card to get through it. Super, super awesome card. Super awesome card. Great limited card. House. House. Wildwood Scourge. or more counters to put on this. I don't know how to. Really good card for the counters deck for sure. We saw this card in Ikoria, pretty similar. It's just better than that. So very good card for the counters deck. I like it. That's it. That's green. So we're off the green and nearing in on the clubhouse here for the 19th hole. We got multicolored, we got colorless, we got lands. We're gonna keep going. Thanks for the follows, everyone. I appreciate that. YouTube folks, what's your favorite card in green? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and every video, like, comment, please. Helps me out a ton. And I'll see you fine folks for the next color. If you missed any colors, they're all on YouTube. Love you all, YouTube. Thank you.